he's synonymous with winning. And
he's also still good.
Yeah,
he's still good. That's why someone would pay him. No one's doing a 5-year max, anything like that, right? But like, 3 years, and I mean, even the thing we've all proposed, 3 years and $70 million.
Right.
I think a bunch of teams would line up to do that.
I think there could be a team out there that gives him 90 over 3. To tell you the truth,
you're right.
Why not? Right. Why not?
Now, then the question will be, how much does he want to be here?
I mean, if certain players are making 60, Draymond's not worth 30.
I think he is. I think, and not only that, the big concern that I've had about him the last couple of years is just would, as he aged, let his legs go, and he hasn't. His legs are in great shape.
Yeah, and I mean, really, it's which team feels like they're a Draymond Green away from trying to make a run, and does that team that feels like they're a Draymond Green away have enough cap space? That's where I do come back to the Lakers, Larry, which is he aligns with just about every single piece of their puzzle. And now it just becomes, well, do you feel like Golden State is more of the place for you, Dre, than L.A.?
I got huge concerns right now.
Why?
About what? It's a Friday.
No, not about the show, not about life. Not about life. Not about any of you. I mean, I'm overwhelmed by the star power of Evan Giddings, even in the room today, like going on the Dan Patrick show and then slumming it in here after the fact. I don't know why you haven't already taken that contract, but
he's the second most famous Dan I talked to today.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Shut up, Fouts.
There you go.
You're on a roll.
Go Cats. Get him, Cats.
Too bad Dibley's not here to make it a threesome. Anyway, so I have concerns as a Warrior fan that things feel like they're coming apart at the seams.
That's so funny. Evan just said that 10 minutes ago during the break. He said it feels like they're just winging it.
Well, and not so much winging it.
Coach's leaving, GM's leaving.
So strength in numbers.
Coach?
Well, Jama Malalela, which I know that a lot of people, you're a fan, you may not even know who that is. I'm here to tell you that's a big deal. That's the person who ran their player development program. That's a future head coach. That's a right-hand man type of a person on the Warrior bench. Jama Malalela leaving is a big deal. You don't need us to tell you that Bob Myers leaving is a big deal. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in the wording that was just used in this report about Draymond Green. Opting out, not a concern. Quote-unquote, Warriors doing everything in their power to bring him back is very different than the tone we heard the day after they were eliminated, which is the two sides are already working on a new deal. This is a very different sound. Meantime, total silence around Steve Kerr. I heard you guys saying a few minutes ago, total silence from Steph Curry. Meantime, Klay Thompson has not been addressed, and there have been overtures that maybe he still thinks he's a major money player going forward. All of these things. Strength in numbers feels like it's turned into every man for himself. That's my concern.
Somebody turn off the lights on the way out.
The disease of me. It took a while.
The magnitude of me? We're going to Reggie?
No, that's like Pat Riley.
Oh, okay.
Like we already had the two young guys we talk about already with the whispers of complaints about role and playing time. It feels like every man for himself right now, or at least that's my concern.
Yeah, I bet you. I could see that. I don't know. Like, I really don't know. It's also one of these things, Mark, where we could be behind on so much. Draymond may be telling Steph, I got a deal already.
Yeah.
And Klay may be saying the same thing and whatever. And on July 1st or whenever they announce it, we realize, hey, they're running it back. And, Steve Kerr's got an it's possible.
Let's not ignore, though, when was it in the season when Draymond took the mic after one of these games and started talking up Bob Myers and how Myers' contribution was so significant and this and that. And now Myers is, gone.
It might have been after he talked him off the deep end against the New Orleans Pelicans. But
so, you never know.
The one thing that I am starting to really forget Poole. I get that if they go down a certain way, he may be the guy that they have to move. I'm more I think about it, I'm not moving Kuminga. I'm just not unless it's for a great player. I cannot give up on Kuminga.
The calculus of the whole thing changes if suddenly Draymond Green leaving as a free agent is now on the table.
That's true.
Yep.
Everything changes. My opinion would immediately change. Wouldn't yours?
Talk about reacting to new information.
Forget your opinion. Does Steph's opinion change?
Well, it would have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why would you be out there wanting to trade Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga for both reasons of saving money and getting him away from Draymond if Draymond's not here?
Right.
Why? I would immediately change my thought on those two young guys. I would immediately change my thought on the Warriors' chances of winning a ring this year. I would essentially think there are next to none.
And that
if
also
Draymond Green's not on the team.
Also changes the answer to the question we asked, which was, it was Mike Dunleavy Jr. brought in to rebuild this thing or to further the runway. If Draymond Green's no longer part of the team, then you could make a case that he could try and tear this thing down.
Bob Myers was his guy.
Yeah.
And he's gone. And so, right?
There's how do the players feel about Joe? How do the players feel about Joe's kids running the team if indeed they're running the team and Dunleavy's just the kind of the face?
And they feel like he ran Bob Myers and maybe Draymond Green out of town.
I do think there's a chance that the veteran players aren't high on Joe because of the way he handled the draft when Clay got hurt, and I think it's possible that a veteran or two may think. Notice how I'm couching everything. May think he kind of gave up on us. He gave up on us when he took two total projects,
or at least he prioritized his thing over our thing.
Right. So we'll see. I think it's interesting though. I don't know. I don't like. Maybe Mike Dunleavy could have been brought in here to keep it together, but he doesn't have the wherewithal, meaning the money. Maybe it's like, look, if we can get him for 80 over 3, we'll do it. Let's try to get him for 69 or 60. I don't know.
Can I ask a question that I know is going to piss everybody off?
Please do.
No, you can't. Oh, yes. No. Go ahead.
Is it possible this is over? That this whole run is really over?
Of course.
And that's kind of we don't want to admit it. We don't want to acknowledge it. The fans don't want to admit it. Fans don't want to acknowledge it. Bye-bye Myers. Maybe at some point here, bye-bye Kerr, bye-bye Draymond, bye-bye Clay, bye-bye Poole. Is it possible that they're...
When do you say it's over? Like if Steph's still standing...
Yeah, when it actually is.
Well, I mean, let's say Myers leaves. Let's just say Draymond goes somewhere else. And...
is that Draymond Green saying it's over though? Is Draymond Green leaving?
Well, yeah,
saying
that's what I'm. That's
hey, I think it's over. I'm out.
Does
Draymond leaving make it over? It might make it over.
Yeah. I say yes.
Yeah,
for multiple reasons. Not just because I don't think that they can currently, as they're constructed, win it without him. But for me, as I sort of detailed to you yesterday, there's an aspect of Steph, Clay, and Dre that to me are one person. That's the dynasty. Mm-hmm. That's a statue in and of itself. Those three together. So the second they're no longer together anymore, it changes. And that dynasty, that run, is kind of no longer.
So let me go back to what I said before about the Green thing, about when he's talking about Myers. That sounded like he was appealing to somebody. And we're not running the team. Joe runs the team. So was he appealing to Joe? Hey, don't let Myers walk at the end of the year. Myers is the glue. Myers keeps this whole thing together. Joe. That sounded to me like a message from Draymond to Joe through the microphone and the media. And if Joe's like, yeah, I heard you, but you know what? Kent and Kurt got this, and we'll bring in Mike to face it up, and we got this. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, no, you don't got this.
Right. I think everything's on the table. Yeah. I think, for example, maybe, when Draymond said, of course Bob's decision's going to impact me, but I'm not going to base it all on that. But what if there is stuff happen? What if Myers is gone? And what if they basically told Draymond, look, Jordan's not going anywhere. He's just not. He's too good. He's too young. Maybe Draymond's already determined he's gone.
Maybe.
And Curry knows it right now, and Clay knows it. And then Clay's saying, you know what, I don't know. I mean, Does it feel that dire?
With each little thing that leaks out, it makes me circle back to the same question, which is, why did Bob actually choose now to leave? Please don't tell me that he loves his kids that much. I'm sure he does.
He was making breakfast for his 5-year-old this morning. That's a fact.
I believe it.
Did you guys see Steph working out with Scoot?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I did.
That was probably in Walnut Creek,
No, it
wasn't
was at Stanford, I thought.
Oh, was it
Yeah,
Stanford?
Stanford, yeah.
You think there's anything to that? I mean, they're talking about making moves and shaking things up.
Can you get to 2?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's giving up Scoot Henderson for Poole coming in 19. But
I think they might give it up for Zion. I know New Orleans is trying to get there.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
You're getting really good at that.
I got to try to sneak it in.
Time.
Got to sneak it in.
Really getting good at it.
Sneak it in.
Proud of you.
What else was I going to say?
How
about this? Just, you know how when Durant left, people said the Warriors had a motivation to win without him like they did before he arrived? How come that wouldn't work for Draymond? Like, I get Curry would be hurt, but man, what about if you go do it without Draymond? Like,
You can't.
You can't?
No, I don't. Nope.
I also don't.
I don't think that's possible.
I think the dynamic of that, though, is created that when you're like, okay, we're a group, and they already had one ring, and then it was like, oh, you couldn't do it, so you had to bring in Kevin. And people didn't like that being said, so then there was motivation to prove, actually, we can do it without Kevin. That dynamic never existed with any of the original 3. Nobody ever was like, oh, you know what I mean? You had to make. So I don't think that motivation would exist. That's
what is the motivation?
The only motivation, they're going to hear, if Draymond leaves, then they're going to hear all off season the Warriors are done. Right?
Yeah.
And all season.
Klay Thompson's going to stick 4 fingers in your face like he did all of last year.
Well, you know what? Maybe Monday you and Goo could get Steph on and ask him how he feels about this.
Right.
Well, we're going to have. I'm sure we're going to carry
Thursday.
the Mike Dunleavy press conference live at 11.
Yeah, you're really looking forward to that, aren't you?
Will Joe jump in on that presser?
Oh gosh,
who will be up there? I mean, he might be
Kirk.
You know what's weird?
His successor.
you know what I just thought of? It's going to be weird to see a press conference without Bob Myers.
It really
What
is.
if it starts with Joe going, Mike's like a son to me?
I mean, Bob's still under contract. He might be.
Mike's like a son
That's
to me.
right.
He might be there.
Bob
Joe, give the final
Bob will
speech.
introduce Mike W. Jr.
Joe's like, hey, Mike, what's your cell number? I'm thinking about calling you, I don't know, 10, 12 times a day.
Can't think of a better way to start my final 11 days of employment than to introduce Mike Dunleavy Jr. as the new general manager. By the way, did you guys make anything of this? Like, even Woj's tweet, Mike Dunleavy's the new general manager.
Not president of basketball
Who's
operations.
the president of basketball operations?
You know, I thought of that, and I'm not sure.
Larry Harris, maybe?
Kirk
No,
Lacob?
I don't think he's.
You don't think so?
No,
he's the one guy with the credentials.
Well, he was a GM before. He doesn't even live in the Bay.
You'd have to pay someone for that title, though. So I don't know if
he could make Kent or Kirk the. It's possible because I think some teams don't even have one.
Yeah, who reports to who if those are two separate people?
All right, let me tell you. Dunleavy reports to Joe.
Yeah.
I bet you Kirk reports to Joe.
So they're side by side.
One's business, one's basketball.
Man,
they combine.
That causes a problem.
Like Larry Harris has quietly been here for the whole dynasty.
He has.
Yeah.
And he's done,
He's been
by all consideration, he's been terrific.
Loyal soldier.
Now he's got to report to Mike?
Well, I got to think, if Joe's got a board in his office, isn't that really Harris's board, right? That's probably, I would imagine that's Harris's board.
Yeah, I think in Mike's a little bit. I think Mike did a lot of traveling last year or two, for sure. And that'll be another interesting thing just to see how he GMs, because every GM does it different. Some travel with the team all the time. Some never travel or seldom travel. Bob didn't travel a lot because he didn't really have to. Like, he knew what this team was, but
some guys travel just because they want to get out of town.
You're right.
Dave Twardzik.
You're right.
If you made some of the moves these old GMs made,
that's true.
You'd be traveling too.
But I mean, like, I know when Travis Schlenk took over Atlanta, they were so young that he was on the road with them all the time, kind of. Because
where's he?
He's in Washington now.
He just got to Washington.
Yeah. And Washington's got
trade destination.
Action. Bradley Beal talking to the Heat and Bucks.
The zinger.
Porzingis has a $36 million opt-out. 36. What's he going to do?
He's going to opt in. Come on, he's not getting 36.
Well, Poole makes
You think
27.
Zinger's getting 36 a year?
No, but
But he could get 90 over the next 3.
Right, like sometimes I think we do this. We've been doing this with Draymond.
Yeah,
he's not going to take a pay cut. Well, no. If he got 3 years and 70, to me, that's not a pay cut. I understand he might take $4 million less this year, but he's guaranteeing himself, in my mind, $43 million new dollars.
Right.
That's not a pay cut. But maybe they see it as such.
Right.
And so, like with this report, here's something I could find believable. I'm not saying this is happening, but I could find it believable, especially after, you remember the sound we played yesterday when Dunleavy told us the afternoon of Game 6 against the Kings, I didn't even bring up money. I asked him about the offseason, how far they go. Does that affect what you do in the offseason? He immediately brought up money. It's a financial component to what we're going to have to do. So let's say Draymond does get in for those conversations, and they're like, look, here's the deal. We need you to opt out, and here's the new deal. It's 3 for 60. And Draymond's like, no, it's not. And Bob's not there to have that conversation. I could absolutely believe that is where we sit right now. And now suddenly new options are on the table.
The other thing I was thinking is we've been talking all since the season ends. What are the Warriors going to do? What are the Warriors going to do? Well, guess what? They might not be in control like they thought they were in control. And I'm not saying they were in control, but maybe, one thing, Draymond says, I'm out, and they didn't expect that. Now, all of a sudden, what are you doing?
Down.
You know what I mean? And like it's easy to say, well, we're going to extend Clay, we're going to re-sign Draymond, and we're going to pay Steve Kerr a lot more money. And then all of a sudden, Draymond's like, that's not enough, and I'm going to the Lakers. Then what? Now you are on the fly, I would think.
Well, we know he's opted out before June 29th. That's also when the match is happening with Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, and Draymond Green is going to be the reported sideline reporter there. Do you guys read anything into that? Like would Draymond Green, if he wasn't coming back, be willing to do something like that with two guys he's no longer going to be playing with? Because I'd imagine he's going to make a choice before free agency of whether he's going to sign here or not. And maybe he already has. I don't know. The timing seems interesting of that event happening with those three particular guys. And if Draymond is saying, I'm out, that would make that entire event, well, number one, something we want to watch, but also kind of awkward.
Well, you wouldn't know yet. Because nothing can be announced until free agency.
Well, not officially, but I'm saying the rumors of what's going to happen coming out before.
I completely believe that those three will see themselves as a brotherhood forever, whether they're on the same team or not. So I could buy it either way. By the way, let me equally also say him opting out is zero. I think is zero surprise to anyone. Mm-hmm. I think that was happening all along. So this also may mean nothing. This also may just be the Warriors looked at this news and went, well, yeah, we've been having conversations. Of course, he was never going to opt in and do a 1-year deal.
But once again, back to
the
speech, back to the post-game speech, he made a big deal like, hey, Bob's key. That was directed at somebody, and that obviously fell on. I think it was directed at Joe. I think it fell on deaf ears, and now Bob's out, and maybe that changes the dynamic here.
I don't think
maybe Bob left because he saw this coming.
I think that.
But
I think Bob was
coming.
Bob was completely in control of that. No, I don't think the Warriors forced Bob out.
If Bob said to Joe, "Hey Joe, look, talk to Draymond the other day. He's going to opt out, and he thinks he's going to get 30 a year, and I'm sniffing around, and he is going to get 30 a year.
Right?
Are we going there? No, we're not going there because my tax bill is going to be $500 million, or what my payroll's. Yeah. I ain't going there. All right, just wanted to know, and then that formulated his. You know what? Maybe it's time for me to tuck tail and get out of here because I'm not going to be here, standing here with a lottery team with a huge payroll with a guy who's maniac billionaire calling me 17 times a day.
That's actually a great point. I didn't think about this, but it's like if Bob knew Joe was all in, we are gonna re-sign Draymond and bring Clay and extend Clay and get why would he leave? Then it's going to run itself again for another couple years. Like that does resonate a little bit with me, but maybe it was the other way where Joe's like, this is the year we're getting off Draymond. I've had and
Mark's thing about the money with Dunleavy, that kind of maybe Dunleavy's on the top of his mind is the financial side of this because that's what's driving all the decisions.
And maybe Bob's like, yeah, I'm out.
Or maybe he's also
I'm not here. I'm not going to be here when everybody leaves.
It's $1 million question to me.
Or maybe Draymond, he at the beginning of this year through the end of this year figured that's a lot I got to deal with. Maybe even if Draymond's coming back, he doesn't want to be a part of that anymore. Even if the band is back together.
Why did he leave?
Bob?
He's 48. Why did he leave? And why do we even acknowledge it when people say that they're leaving to spend more time with their family? Why do we not laugh at that?
He made breakfast for his 5-year-old.
I bet of course he loves his
scrambled eggs.
I love mine.
Did you watch the presser?
I'm 48. I'm here. I'm not like...
Did you see that
presser?
He
squeezed the oranges himself for his daughter's orange juice.
Seems like more of an over easy guy.
He's committed.
There's nothing like pouring cereal for a kid. There's nothing like it. It only takes about 6 seconds. I think personally you can have a full-time job and pour the cereal. But
I think that presser was like Bob talked, and we're all sitting there wondering, why is he leaving? And then Joe started talking, and then we all went, yeah, now I understand why he's leaving.
I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes. Except for not really. Like, I'm with you. That's totally how the day felt.
That's what it felt like.
But I still, for me, that is the question when you start looking at everything else that's happening around. Silence from Steve and Steph. Jordan and Jonathan don't like their role. Jama Malaleila's out. Why did you, Draymond opposite, why did you leave? What is going on?
Maybe he says, you just answered your own question.
What is going on?
Bob, are you going to run the draft, Bob? Well, I wasn't really good at that, right? I wasn't really good at that.
Exactly.
What? Now the guy that he drafted 35, who's a Hall of Famer, is opted out.
We're all heading to greener pastures.
All right, gentlemen, have fun. There is something, I will say it, there's something a little unsettling about saying Draymond Green, free agent.
He's a free agent.
He is. Have a great show, guys.